Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from MouseSteps.com.
And this is show number 7 of MouseSteps Weekly.
Sponsored by Theme Park Connection in Winter Garden, Florida.
So last week we stopped by Disney's Art of Animation just to try some food for an upcoming episode. And Radiator Springs was open for business for the first day of cast member testing.
Right, and we were not expecting it at all. We had a nice meal and walked outside and saw that...
Saw this!
Yeah. And that's Doc Hudson.
Doc Hudson, the Hudson Hornet himself. This is Flo, but there's no V8 Cafe, unfortunately. That would have been
nowhere to eat.
No, well, there's plenty of places to eat.
One place to eat, Landscape of Flavors.
Right.
And there's Ramon.
Yes.
There's like 10 photo ops within Radiator Springs, which is really awesome. Just counting the cars.
Right. I mean, there's just, as you'll see, tremendous details. Here we go.
Low and slow. And that's on the tires as well. And they're sitting on a very soft kind of platform.
Right.
So
we should mention, because obviously you can't help it. The kids are going to be climbing on these cars. We talked to somebody, one of the Imagineers, and they said within hours of opening, the kids were on the car.
Right.
So there's very soft padding in case somebody were to fall.
And that's Luigi and Guido.
Yes, right.
And each building is themed differently. This one is for Luigi's Casadella tire sale.
Right. And you can see it's Route 66 that we're at. And again, there is the Luigi area off in the background to the right. And I think it's interesting how the sign references buildings Cars 1, Cars 2, and Cars 3. So if we ever do have a perhaps
3.
it's a precursor.
And there's a Cozy Cone Motel.
Yes. No vacancy.
No vacancy.
But great details again. This is actually
the pool area.
Correct. This is where you go.
Walk into the pool. It did confuse a few people. I heard people would be like, oh, this is the office or this is the lobby. But it's really not. I mean, if you walk in looking for a lobby, you're going to find a pool. And Radiator Springs was founded in 1909 by a steam car named Stanley.
Yes, lots of details. Speaking of details, these postcards, Greetings from Radiator Springs, there's a whole series of postcards in the windows of the Cozy Cone Motel, which we would love to buy. We would be happy to give our hard-earned money over to Disney for a set of these cards.
And we have a video that we have a lot of videos up right now that has better detail of these postcards.
Yeah, I focused in on each card, so if you want to see them a little more, check out our other videos. And I like these little things coming up too, the little cars.
They're like, I think they're alarm clocks is what we were told. Oh, and Cone Sweet Cone. Everything has to do with cones,
right,
except for cars. Cars and cones.
And speaking of cones, here is is it called the Cozy Cone Pool?
Yes.
The Cozy Cone Pool.
With Cozy Cone cabanas.
Right.
Free. You don't have to pay for these cabanas.
But I think it'll be hard to
snag one.
Right. There's no reservation. It's first come, first serve.
Like 6 a.m.
Right.
I don't know.
I can imagine the rush on these things. But, you know, we will be staying there this week. So I think we'll have to do some research and try to get one of those.
Not stay in a Cozy Cone cabana, but I want to snag one for the day or part of the day.
Right. So that'll be, we'll talk about that next week. And also you could see in the area back there was where you have a washing area. And here's that cabana. So it looks like 4 people can sit in that particular Cozy Cone. You can watch some TV with that nice antenna up there.
I don't know if that's true. And there's plenty of, it's not a big pool, but you've got the cabanas, you've got the nice theming, and the plenty of chairs.
It's really the quiet pool.
It is one of the quiet pools.
And all you have to do is walk down not very far if you want to go to the big blue pool.
It's just like maybe a 2-minute walk to the Finding Nemo big blue pool.
So here is another themed building. This is where Tow Mater resides.
The theming on these is, to me, incredible. And there's Tow Mater,
who's parked outside of his junkyard.
And if you walk right inside, you'll see Tow Mater on the artwork in the first floor.
And there's artwork on all the floors that are different, representing all the different cars that you see scattered around Radiator Springs.
And I think that's really cool. So each floor has that. And this coming up, the license tag says A113, which is John Lasseter's former classroom at Cal Arts.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of detail to be found. at this resort. And I like that kind of thing.
And do you have a certain building that you would rather stay in?
Do you have a building?
No, I don't know which one.
I hope they don't ask, actually. I would prefer to have it be picked because they're all good. It's hard to choose. I'm just excited to see what the rooms are going to look like inside.
Right, we haven't been in one yet.
No, so I can't wait.
And this is Sarge's Surplus Hut. It's actually a pool supply building, but we thought it was going to be like with showers and bathrooms when we were taking pictures at Pop Century.
Right. From we're far away. We're looking over the lake, but it all makes sense now. And there is Sarge himself.
Another great photo op.
Yes. And Sarge is a veteran of 1941 World War II. So I like it. Again, more detail to be found. And I just noticed the expiration date on his little tag
1942.
there. That's right, March of 42. Here we have the
Lightning, McQueen, and Sally.
Right. But what is this section?
This is the Wheelwell Motel. So guests get to stay in the Wheelwell Motel.
Right. Well, that is an iconic location from the Cars movies.
Right.
So it was originally a hotel on Route 66, but then when the highway opened up,
it turned into a restaurant.
Later, I think in Cars 2,
right,
it became that.
And there's Lightning McQueen.
Right. This is where we saw the kids walking on his hood.
Yes, running all over the hood. They are solid cars.
Very solid. And there's Sally. And you can see again there is the soft ground, which is very helpful.
And there's gas, which you would think it would be low-cost gas, but it's actually $2.99, which isn't too much different than now.
Well, it's still Disney.
You're
still Disney, so even back in those days.
And there's Fillmore, which is actually our favorite car, right?
Van.
Well, it's, yeah.
And we found out that the little license plate was to represent his goatee.
And the numbers on the plate, 5/12/37, are actually George Carlin's birth date.
Right, George Carlin, one of my favorite comedians. He did the voice for Fillmore.
This Luxo sticker is just one of dozens on Fillmore.
And they all go back to the Cars films. So it's nice to see all the different comments that if you're a big fan of the Cars movies, you'll get.
And lots of organic bumper stickers. And my favorite bumper sticker, and yours,
Save 2D animation. So even Fillmore likes to think of the old school
old school films.
And the Wheelwell Hotel, this is another shot, and it's much bigger in person than that particular shot looks.
And at the back of the building, this is Lightning McQueen and Sally. At the time we were there, you couldn't see them unless you were driving past, but there is a sidewalk that will lead back behind the building.
Right. I think people will have to seek this out, though, because it's way off into a corner. But it's a nice payoff if you decide to go for a walk while you're staying there.
There's a lot of great artwork and detail all over the buildings.
Yeah, this mater was also recently
added.
Put on.
And this is, if you park, you'll get to see him. He leads out to the parking lot. And there is Luigi and Guido. And next week, come back, we'll have much more of Disney's Art of Animation Resort.
I can't wait. Can't wait to check it out in just a few days.
Me too.
Our next big surprise of the week was Casey Jr.'s Splash and Soak. Opened much earlier than we originally thought was going to happen.
And soak is the operative word.
But when we got there, the water had yet to be turned on.
And we weren't even sure if it would be turned on until we saw some Imagineers running around.
But it worked out for the best because it gave us a few minutes to walk around without getting drenched to see some of the little details.
Like the 71?
Yeah, 71, a reference to 1971 when the Magic Kingdom and all of Walt Disney World opened.
In 89 for 1989 when Disney's MGM Studios opened.
And I wonder what this 98 could be following this little trend. I would say that would be
Animal Kingdom. And I wonder if it's in blue for Avatar.
That's very good. And here's an 82, reference to Epcot Center, which opened in 1982, and it's probably our favorite place.
That's my favorite park, definitely.
Yes. And looking around, I see clowns. Not a huge fan of the clowns.
No, you aren't.
But there is a nice tribute here. I see a number 5, a Firehouse 5 plus 2 reference. And that middle clown looks very suspiciously like Ward Kimball to me. And, of course, it is. He was the leader of the Firehouse 5 plus 2.
And there is an elephant. You can see the eyes.
I wonder if he's related to Dumbo.
I bet it's a she.
So right around this time, a manager came by and said, if you don't want to get wet, you better back up.
So we backed up.
We backed up, and this started. As you can see, it's totally dry, and all of a sudden, Casey Jr. here says, all aboard, all aboard.
And it was like the Pied Piper. I've never seen kids run for something so quickly.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
I have no idea where they came from, but they heard all this, and I mean, the animals are loud.
Right.
They're all making different noises.
I just thought it was funny because all of a sudden you see everybody running down the steps, and you don't see them here quite yet, but pretty quick considering it wasn't too busy in the land yet.
And it's not a little water.
It's a lot of water.
I mean, look at that. They're shooting out big streams of water that'll get you drenched.
And adults and children alike were running through this play area.
Yes, so it was very interesting. And you must heed this warning. Do not drink the water. It is recirculated among other warnings. Yes.
And there is a cart.
What a shock! A merchandise cart.
If you need some flip-flops and
towels. Very, very... and this hat. You must have...
It's an umbrella hat, a Mickey Mouse umbrella hat.
And I actually saw a kid... I went back last night and I saw a kid wearing one of those. So this thing is just being held together by threads, as you can see, and it just gets wetter and wetter.
Yeah, look at how much water it is now. I mean, if you go in there...
I don't know where the kids come up with just their bathing suits, but we saw that happening. And, of course, it's themed correctly. It's a roundhouse. Tracks all lead up to here. Casey Jr. is parked because he brought the animals to the circus. And the animals are all off. Well,
there's a giraffe.
Not all off, but yes, a lot of them are still in the car, but they're there for the circus. That's why it's not moving.
And it was a very hot day when we went, and it looked very refreshing. But I think I'd prefer a little bit of a mist instead of this.
This is much refreshment.
Yes.
So we're going to take a look back at, this is our vintage segment, in the same location as we just saw. It's Mickey's Starland.
And there's your mom.
Yes. Yeah, she'll be happy that she makes all these unwanted appearances. And right over here, if you look up behind the Speedway, that's where Dumbo now currently resides, the double Dumbos.
They moved the area back.
They actually made the turn sharper to give more room to put that in.
And you can see, I think that was a Donald Duck topiary there.
Yeah, because this is Duckburg. And Duckburg is a much smaller scale than what has come afterwards in this location.
And how long was it until Mickey's Toontown Fair came to be?
Many years.
Many years after this. I don't really remember Duckburg. I would have walked through here, but I don't remember it.
News, all the little shops. I mean, this was originally a temporary area for Mickey, for Mickey's birthday, when it was Mickey's birthday.
Well, I still remember Birthday Land. I remember the song on the train.
It was clearly a very crowded day.
Yes, it was very crowded.
My father was having much trouble. And back here was a petting zoo. And in the petting zoo, I know there was a very famous inhabitant. Minnie Moo.
I loved Minnie Moo. I used to visit Minnie Moo over at Fort Wilderness pretty often. She actually lived to 15 years, and 12 is average for one of these type of cows. I think it was a Holstein cow.
Yes, the Disney magic keeps the cow going. I wonder if it's certified Angus.
She died in 2001.
More Duckburg to be explored. Do you remember all these?
No, I don't remember all of it.
If you look, I think, look at the big video camera the guy had. But that's it turned out to be the County Bounty, and to the left over here, that's where you met Mickey, and you had your picture and all that with him. And those were the temporary tents that are still there, which will be used in the new Storybook Circus.
And there's Pluto.
My parents were always suckers for the characters, so I think my mother saw Pluto, and of course she had to stop, and she loves to get into the frame, of course. And there's Pluto's house outside. Now this is Mickey's original house. This was when the architecture was all straight lines. Don Williams had originally done the art for the outside of the house. There's the old mailbox. Much different from different. What came afterwards.
And look at that, Mickey's hand.
And we last saw that, was that not in the archives? I
think it may have been in the archives.
And for a short time, Mickey and Minnie's car was parked in the driveway. And there it is. And I remember the license plate was always in his garage when they did what it was, Mickey's Toontown Fair.
And I remember the car being outside.
In the garage, you couldn't go in the garage. See, it's closed.
Right.
It was not open at that time. And again, much smaller scale, Duckburg, very, very different from what became. In this area that we're at now, this exact area is probably right around where
Casey Jr.
the Casey Jr. I mean, right where we're standing is probably very close to where the Casey Jr. thing ended up being right now.
And the train station is so different now, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And here's the park, and there it is. There's Duckburg.
Welcome to Duckburg.
And this was 1991, so much has changed in 21 years. And that's it. Thank you for your participation.
A little inside humor there. Next week, we will be sharing more from the CARS section of Disney's Art of Animation Resort.
See you then. Thanks for listening.
Bye.